There are two things that the original cartridge release of Pachicom are known for, and neither of them apply to this Disk System re-release. Pachicom was the first pachinko game released for a Nintendo platform. That's a bit of a dubious distinction, but also made it likely that it was the first pachinko video game that most people in Japan would have encountered. Second is the incredibly angry rant hidden by a programmer in the game's memory. Apparently somebody spotted it after the original game was released, and it's been scrubbed here. If you want to know more about that and hear my dramatic reading of it, you'll have to go over to the Fami Daily episode on that cartridge. Here, all I've got is the game itself to talk about. This is one of the more mysterious disk writer releases. The service where you could have your floppies rewritten with new games, and we've been seeing a lot of re-releases of early Famicom games for this. This is Toshiba's only Disk System release. In 1988, this record label was winding down their relationship with video games, though they would start a whole new game division in the 90s. So this is their only 1988 game release, and then they only have one more game after that before they stop publishing games for about half a decade. So why spin up a whole new process just to re-release one game? I suspect, but can't confirm, that the real publisher of these disk writer re-releases is Nintendo themselves. It's pretty easy to picture Nintendo looking around for things that could prop up the disk system, and going to companies that publish games on their platform and saying, "We'll do all the work for you, you'll just get some extra income from this old game." However, nothing can be proven, and it's not like anybody at Nintendo or Toshiba EMI are going to share details of business dealings, even ones as old as the late 80s. As for Pachicom, it's pachinko in its most basic form. Pachinko was Japan's electromechanical gambling obsession, where players would buy a bucket of ball bearings, launch them into a machine, and watch them run down a pegboard. If they landed in certain holes, then more ball bearings came out. And then when it was time to go home, they took their bucket of ball bearings over to be counted, and got some form of prize depending on how many they had. Then they'd go next door and sell that prize for actual money. Well, you can't get money out of Pachicom, but you do get a number of ball bearings that you then launch up and see what comes out. There are two different game modes. In Game A, your goal is to get 3,000 balls, and then the timer stops. While in Mode B, the counter is timing down, and your goal is to get as high a score as possible. If you clear one of these modes, then there's a bonus round that occurs, where your goal is to get a ball into certain targets when there's a fruit floating above them. In the bonus round, the fruit changes position faster than you can aim, so you might as well just keep aiming in one spot and hope it appears there. You press left and right to adjust the power with which you're going to launch the ball, and then hold down A to launch. The power gradually decreases to 0 if you're not adjusting it, so you can't just tie a rubber band around the A button and walk away. Sometimes a ball will get stuck in the machine, at which point this little guy will appear, and you have to guide them over to the ball, and then back to the center of the machine. There are 240 pachinko machines in Pachicom, though really it's just a lot of the same machine with slightly randomized elements. If you just choose one of the game modes, then you randomly get one of those machines, or if you choose Select, then you get to pick which one you want to play. The only new feature in the Disk System version is that when you're in the Select mode and hit B, you can see some of the pin orientations. Pachicom is really disliked in Japan. Even the people who like pachinko games don't like this one. And yeah, it's primitive and annoying, and makes unpleasant sounds all the time, and the way you have to deal with stuck balls doesn't make a lot of sense. And even if it all did work, you're still just playing pachinko, a game whose only real entertainment value is in the possibility of winning money. Pachicom isn't going to dispense money out of your disk system slot, so there really is no reason to play it.